Hello guys, welcome back. So today we're gonna talk about something very difficult, and it's difficult for me to make this video. It's difficult to really discuss this in real time because it's actually so painful to consider the reality of this. This video is about why everyone wants to quit but can't. I literally was coming down here to make 2 other videos, so you guys are gonna end up seeing me in this shirt for like 3 videos, for like the next 3 videos. But I decided to go ahead and make this video first because it's just time to get real. Me and my husband lately, we've been working on budgeting, trying to cut back on stuff, trying to figure out where the money is going, why it seems like we can't save a freaking penny. Like, we're trying to figure things out. And it's so weird because I feel like we've gone through this cycle several times. And as soon as we get into a good routine, something happens. Something happens with a job. Something happens where we have to help out a family member. Something happens with something, or like this house, for instance. And so it comes down to why everyone wants to quit but can't. And I think I speak for a lot of us working class individuals. And that's even for those of us who have, like pretty higher up type jobs, maybe a really good corporate job, or you're like a doctor, physician, like people, I would say maybe people that's like 250K and above per year, this may not hit them. But I feel like all of us who are I hate to say the word beneath, that are below that pay range, I think you all can probably relate to this. And the reason why you want to quit, this is why I feel like most of us want to quit, is because we feel like we're working for nothing. As soon as you get a few dollars saved, some major, I'm gonna jump into this. We do have to control our spending as soon as you get a little bit of money, not to use it for vacations, because I know I am guilty of that. Like, I love vacations, but I have definitely cut back on vacationing. Like, I've had 2 or 3 vacations planned in the last 2 years and just cut them all the way out. Just said, we got to dead that. But we all feel like we need a break. And I think a lot of us, we find ourselves overspending because we're trying to feel like we're getting something out of the grind. We want to feel like we're getting some sort of repayment for what we put up with on these jobs. I think that spans the globe. With the stuff we feel like we put up with on these jobs, we want to have something. You want to go grab a Starbucks before work in the morning. You want to maybe you and the husband or your significant other, you guys go out and have a nice dinner. It doesn't have to be nothing fancy, but just have a nice dinner maybe every other weekend. You want to be able to plan a nice vacation, so you can be like, oh, like for me, it was always planning a nice vacation meant something to look forward to. So when I got down and out or got discouraged or just whatever it was I was feeling, I could be like, well, I got that to look forward to. And sometimes, unfortunately, having a nice little vacation plan, especially if it's like to a beach where you gotta wear swimwear, that helped me get my diet and exercise under control. Like, it'd get me together because I'm like, I want to look this certain way in my bathing suit, so I'm gonna tighten up, and that would give me that would give me motivation. And there was a lot of satisfaction of putting money aside for the vacation, something you knew you was going to be able to enjoy really soon. So it's like this little carrot in front of your face the whole time you had to show up for work every day. And a lot of times people make it seem like, well, being able to pay your bills should be enough. And it should be, okay? But the reality is it's not. And you would think the drive and the desire for financial security, especially when it comes to retirement, especially when it comes to taking care of unexpected expenses, you would think that would be drive enough to make you be like, okay, I just need to do the bare minimum and put money aside into my savings so I can have some sort of financial security. And that's what I'm working towards. That's the mindset that I'm working towards. And I would say it's extremely hard, you guys, because yes, I want financial security, and that does relieve some mental stress. It really, really does. And I want to just have myself focused on just that. But at the same time, it's like, I guess there's an issue with a lot of us with instant gratification. I can say that that's probably for myself. I feel like, and maybe some of you, the instant gratification is an issue. But I kind of feel like it's not so instant if it's like a vacation that's like a year or two out. It's like, that's not really instant gratification. It's something I still have to work towards, have to say, but I don't know. It is a short-term pleasure versus long-term stability. And I think for a lot of us, there's a lot of uncertainty with even that, because we've noticed how things have gotten so expensive where you think in your mind, well, okay, I can save for that. But then there's always this anxiety that I'll save for that and I'll deny myself so much instant gratification for right now that I'll be miserable. And then when I get to the end of the line, I'll barely have enough to even survive, and then I'll still be miserable. And I understand, you guys, that's a bad way to look at things like that. You really gotta be like, okay, I still have to do it. You can't predict the future. You just need to do it because it's something you need to do. And I'm definitely understanding now more than ever as I get older that I definitely need to do that, because things are not guaranteed. They're not certain. And even if you may not have exactly enough, you have something. Yeah. So there's the part about why everyone wants to quit, because you feel like you're spending so much time on going to jobs that you're grateful for. And let's be clear, a lot of people try to say something snarky about just be glad you got a good job. I think most of us are glad to have a job, a way to pay our bills and sustain ourselves and our families. But no one wants to feel like they're being tortured 5 days a week for 8 hours a day. Really 9, because you typically have to take your lunch somewhere in the vicinity of the job and hurry up and run back to your desk or whatever area that you work in. You have to run back to it right after your break. So it's really like 9 hours a day, 5 days a week. So most of us spend a good chunk of our lives at our jobs. And when you're doing that, you have to operate in kind of like a robotic type of way. You're not able to be really yourself at these jobs. I mean, it's a professional environment, so being too much of yourself could probably get you in trouble. But you have to be careful around your coworkers. You have to be careful around your boss. It's not like there's any type of real relief when you have to go into your job every day. Like, you're not getting, what am I trying to say? It's like that pleasurable, comfortable, I don't know, it's like a fulfilling type thing. I think most of us want to go into a job, especially if we're going to be there all day long, damn near every day. We want to have some sense of fulfillment, some sense of enjoyment. But a lot of times on these jobs, we spend most of our time in high anxiety because you don't know if you're doing enough, or you're doing too little, you're doing too little, you're doing too much. Can you trust this person? Oh, you slipped up and said something around such and such, or they're going to take that and run with it, or they're going to use that to manipulate you, or there's people in the office constantly playing these constantly keeping up mess and being toxic. I know most of the, especially office jobs, the corporate, it's so freaking toxic. I literally can't see how anyone's expected to survive that stuff. Anyone that's sane, anyone that has any sort of emotional health, how they can survive that. So for a lot of us, it feels like we're like, how to explain it? It's so hard to explain. It's like not punishment, but yeah, more like a punishment. Like you're getting punished for just simply trying to live, and you gotta suck it up. You try to tell everybody, oh, just be glad you got a job, or the reason why you're not feeling the fulfillment of other areas of your life because you didn't find the right job, you didn't find the right career path. And it's like, easier said than done. Easier said than done. That's not the typical path for anyone. I just so badly want people to stop acting like everything's perfectly in your control. Like everything you do, every outcome you've experienced was 100% in your control. And there's a lot of things that are not in your control. You do your best to control the things you can, but there are going to be things that happen and occur that are not in your control, and you find yourself having to just roll with it. And so some of us ended up in the jobs that we've ended up in, and I know this for certain, is because you found yourself having to just roll with the punches. Everything you set forth did not just play out perfectly, and there was no hiccups or errors. And yes, sometimes you have to persevere and keep trying, but in that midst of keep trying, there's going to be some form of suffering, and you're going to feel like, man, am I doing this? Am I going through all this for nothing? And it's hard to be the type of person that perseveres. It is. Let's do some little real talk. It's not that easy to be the type of person that perseveres everything. Sometimes you run out of steam. Sometimes you run out of energy. You run out of optimism. Sometimes things just beat you down. And I'm so mad I don't have my lights on behind me. But anyway, sometimes things just beat you down. And I feel a lot of times like you just feel like you are doing all of this for nothing. And I think that's what made me make this video, because a lot of us want to quit what we're currently doing because it's not fulfilling. It's mentally draining. A lot of us are working in very toxic environments, and a lot of the higher ups want to keep it that way. They don't want you all getting together and having some sense of community, and then you start seeing what the real problem is, where the problems really stem from. They don't want you doing that. They want y'all to stay down here and bicker and do this little cat and mouse thing with each other. So a lot of us don't want to be in that crap anymore. We want to be able to spend time with the ones we love. We want to take on personal hobbies. Just most of us don't want to tap into a toxic environment every day just to barely be able to get by. And like I said, I do understand that any of us who are feeling this way, we have to tighten our belts when it comes to our spending and our finances and so forth. And I would say it is getting more and more difficult to do that, because we do have inflation. We do have the cost of things rising up. We do have jobs that are, if you got a job at all, they're going to pay the bare minimum, and a lot of them are paying the bare minimum plus adding, before you know it, you got two and three other people's jobs added to your job because they laid off the other people. So like I said, a lot of us want to quit, but we can't, because the reasons why I feel like we can't, I feel like the reason why a lot of us don't have money saved up is because when we are away from work or when we leave these jobs, we find ourselves overspending and doing things in certain areas because we're desperately trying to find some sort of gratification or reward for what we go through throughout the week on these jobs. And a lot of times we go a little overboard, but a lot of times it's just, I mean, how to say this? It's not it is a bit of the cost of living, but I think a lot of us want to check out of our realities so much that before we know it, our spending and our attention has gotten far away from financial security and into I just want to feel better somehow, some way right now. And yeah, that's my spiel on that, why everyone wants to quit but can't. So I'm gonna try. That was kind of heavy. I don't know why I started with that video. I got 2 other videos to film. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye for now.